Well, Juice WRLD became one of the biggest rappers out of Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
Like, not only was he a superstar on his own, but he was also doing songs like Eminem, and he had a joint album with Future and everything else like that. But, you know, and me and Bibby did an interview about this, and he was telling me how Juice WRLD's drug addiction was out of control by the time he died. You know, he was saying how if guys were doing drugs, you know, we're taking one pill, Juice WRLD would be taking 10 pills. And every song was about drugs. And the way he died, I think, what is he, like 21 years old or something like that? Or he was a kid damn near.
I don't really know how old Juice was when he died. I know he was young though for sure.
Let's take a look. How old was Juice WRLD? He was 21.
Damn.
And
I mean,
you know,
that's crazy. That nigga was talented as fuck at 21. I'm out dead.
Hella talented.
One of the most talented. I'm out dead.
Right, and he has like 100 songs
fucked my head
still in
up.
the
How
vault.
the fuck, damn, at 21, you that, like, that's crazy. That's crazy.
Right, because you're 20 right now?
Yeah, I'm 20.
Yes, that's 1 year older than you.
Exactly.
And he died because of, you know, he was on a private plane, the police were about to search the plane, so he ended up like swallowing a bunch of the drugs, overdosed, died right there on the plane. Now, you yourself, there was a video where you were snorting a perk.
No, that wasn't no perk. Yeah, no.
What was it?
That shit was like, you know, like the movies be having like little powder form, shit that don't, you know what I'm saying? It was like that type of shit. That was a publicity stunt.
So that was just fake?
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna say this.
But what you was about to say about it?
Well, what I want to say is that, you know, over the years, I've interviewed maybe about 5 people that died from drug overdoses.
Damn.
So, you know, you're signed to somebody whose biggest artist died from a drug overdose. So as you go through this game and you make more money and you get more fame, and you can start affording girls.
You can start affording your habits.
You can afford whatever you want. People are giving you shit. I'm just gonna say, just try to be careful when it comes to this right here.
I got you.
If that was fake, cool. You got everyone. Cool. You fooled the whole world. But I'm just saying that as you go on with your career, and you have a long life ahead of you, you have a long career ahead of you, really be careful about this side of things, because it's easy to get addicted. And especially when you have money and you're around and other rappers are doing it and so forth, before you know it, you're a junkie. And before you know it, you start to OD. And I've interviewed multiple people that have OD'd and luckily have made it. But like, for example, with me, one of my close friends overdosed and died off cocaine when he was 23. Like, I went to his funeral and I'm like, I'm never doing. I remember sitting at the funeral saying, I'm never going to do cocaine or anything similar to that. You know, no heroin, no crack, you know, nothing else like that. I don't pop pills. So that taught me my lesson. So I'm just going to say, as someone who's, you know, more than twice your age, as you get into this game, if you could try to avoid that, man, your life is going to be way better.
Okay, I get you.
You know, and I'm telling you out of real concern.
Yeah, I appreciate you telling me that.
It's easy, you know, and also, like, you know, you see dudes like Fredo Santana, you know, who sometimes, you know, we're getting high just to deal with the trauma and the pain. And, you know, you yourself, you've dealt with a lot of loss and you've never gone to therapy. You've never really gotten those feelings out. And a lot of times people will use drugs to just sort of numb the pain because it's too hard. You see what I'm saying? I
see what you're saying. You ain't telling no lies.
Yeah. And, you know, and someone who, and I've gone to therapy for years, I've had therapists, you know, if at some point, you know, I would suggest just sitting down with someone and start unpacking some of your feelings, because it's real easy to, you know, when you don't deal with that type of trauma, it comes out in other ways.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and you have a bright future ahead of you, and you're not even 21 yet. You can't even legally drink. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And you got a lot. Like, I'm 51, and people think, oh yeah, I'm an old head or whatever. Like, this is the best time of my life. I'm rich, I'm stable, I have homes.
Healthy.
You know, I have a family,
Mm-hmm.
I can go wherever I want, I can travel, I fly first class, you know, I go to Dubai, I go to Paris. Like, there's a long line, there's a long future ahead of you, and you've lost a lot of people. Like, imagine if you and Jeff were around right now, really celebrating all this. Both of you guys are signed to Bibby, and then you guys are dropping albums and everything else like that. Like, it would be a whole lot better with both of y'all together. But unfortunately, you have to do it on your own. But just try not to get caught up in this life, because it's easy. It's easy.
Right. Okay.